She sat alone in the dim corner of her room, clutching a torn prayer mat, soaked with tears that had become her only companion in recent months. Her name was Amina, a once vibrant and ambitious soul who had watched life slowly slip through her fingers, first the job she had worked tirelessly for, then her fiancé who left her when the trials grew too heavy to carry together. One by one, doors closed, opportunities vanished, friends disappeared, and now, even her heart felt like it had shattered into dust. There was a time when Amina's prayers were filled with hope, her sujud long and sincere, her lips constantly whispering, "Ya Allah, make it easy." But over time, the silence from the heavens felt too loud. It made her wonder if her du'as were bouncing off the walls, unheard, unanswered. She stopped asking. She stopped hoping. All that remained was a quiet surrender to despair. But Allah never forgets His servant. One night, as the rain tapped gently on the window, something stirred within her. A memory, her grandmother's voice, soft and certain, saying, "When you feel you've been buried, perhaps you've only been planted." The words echoed, planted, not forgotten, not punished, planted, for something greater, something unseen. That night, she stood again for prayer. Not to ask, just to say, "Here I am, Allah. Broken, but yours." And with every prostration, a piece of her soul was stitched back together. Days turned to weeks. She began rising for tahajjud again, not because she expected miracles, but because her soul had finally found refuge in surrender. The nights were no longer lonely, they were sacred meetings between her and her Rabb. She recited Quran slowly, holding every word close to her chest, like letters sent directly from the one who had never abandoned her. One verse anchored her like nothing else. "And whosoever puts his trust in Allah, then He will suffice him." Surah At-Talaq 65:3. She whispered it like a lifeline, even when bills piled up, even when interviews led to rejection after rejection. Her heart still trembled, but this time with faith, not fear. And then, just like that, Allah opened a door she had never knocked on. A friend recommended her for a remote job that not only paid well but allowed her to help refugee women with trauma healing. The same pain she once thought would destroy her became her deepest source of empathy. Her test had become her tool. Not long after, a marriage proposal arrived. Not from a man blinded by surface-level ease, but from someone who saw in her the strength that can only come from surviving with grace. He, too, had been through storms. And together, they built a home where sujud was the foundation, and dhikr was the rhythm of their days. Amina's story didn't become perfect. But it became peaceful. She still cried sometimes. But now her tears were ones of awe, how Allah had never left her even for a second. How every no was a mercy. How every delay was a design. How even silence was a form of love. One evening, under a sky painted with stars, she looked up and whispered, "I was drowning in the dark, Ya Allah. And you taught me how to swim in it." To the soul that feels buried today, remember, you are being nurtured. Every hardship is a seed. Every delay is rain. Every sujud is the light that breaks the earth open. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Surah Ash-Shar 94:6. And when you trust Allah fully, when you are still and place your faith in Him completely, He not only blesses you, He doubles it.